let's skip forward about 5 minutes to the attack on the city square itself. This begins, as it usually does, with a skirmish. You soften up the two mercenary pike phalanxes with your ranged units as best as you can, which is to say, you don't actually do anything to them. It has very little effect, range fire, on any kind of phalanx, even these ones, because even though it looks like the men don't have shields, they still get the same shield bonus that our pike phalanges do. So shooting missiles into the front of a phalanx in this game, it will only slightly irritate it. But on the other hand, we do have the ammunition. No point in letting it go to waste, right? Maybe those 3 or 4 guys we killed over the last 10-15 minutes will make the critical difference to the battle. Well, it's such a close outcome in the end of this video that it very well may. So once your javelins, your javelineers, and your archers are out of ammunition, you send your Hypaspists forward because they haven't had the chance to use much of their ammunition. Again, Hypaspists are sort of like miniature legionaries. They have 3 volleys of javelins before they charge. Now, you don't want to actually send them into a melee against the pikes because your Hypaspists have shorter spears than their pikes. You want to send your own phalangists against theirs because Persian mercenary phalanxes are total chicken shit compared to yours. So we're going to fast forward this a little bit and see how it goes.
Ready! Ready! Infantry! Fire! Ready! Ready! Under attack! Infantry! Run! Infantry! Quickly! They're attacking us! We're under attack! Fire! Units, make haste! Units, run! Units, phalanx now!
Yes, there are more archers on the square, and they're shooting fire arrows at us right now. The square is pretty well defended by them, as well as 5 units of mercenary pikemen. 1 unit of light spearmen, like those that we crushed in the side street, and in this case, a unit of heavy cavalry sitting in the center of the city square. These horsemen actually survived the engagement at the city gate unscathed, and fled back to the city center. If I had managed to actually destroy them earlier, we wouldn't have to face them now. They'll become a major nuisance later on, but at this point we're in a pretty good strategic position, because the enemy army won't react until we set foot on the city square. But once we do, they all rush us, and the battle devolves into a frantic melee. But the square is fairly large, and affords us some room to maneuver. Right now, Alexander's being chased off from a free shot at the archers by the heavy cavalry. But the cavalry are dumb enough to engage our spearmen. They'll be brought down pretty quickly. You can see right now we're partially encircled. The enemy army is coming at us from across the square, but they won't arrive until sometime later. At this point, the most useful thing you can do with your commander is actually use him to distract the incoming enemy units. Just as enemy ranged units will want to take out your ranged units, enemy spearmen and pikemen will focus on your cavalry. And since the only cavalry you have is Alexander itself, they will follow him around rather than engage your main line. I don't have much more advice to give on this part. It pretty much boils down to micromanagement. But I would like to point out the final, very irritating glitch in the pathing of this level. As my men throw themselves at the enemy phalanxes, I order Alexander to charge the archers that are behind the enemy front line. I immediately busy myself with the other matters of micromanagement, specifically maneuvering my hypaspists around the enemy main line, and then go back and I discover that Alexander is taking sort of a weird zigzag path towards the archers. He's moving around in circles, spirals, whatever. He's wasting a lot of time. Oh, see, yeah, he turns around and then turns back again. At this point I realize it's more conducive to actually order him to proceed to an area of ground behind them, and then once he's in the middle of their formation to attack, but he's already wasted a lot of time, and an enemy unit of spearmen has closed in and are now threatening Alexander. He would probably win this engagement, but again, it's a waste of horses, so I am forced to disengage. The archer unit is badly battered. Fortunately, they're not going to be a threat for the rest of the battle, but it's still very annoying because I could have wasted them.
Infantry!
We're now in the final desperate minutes of the battle, and some of my men are starting to rout. I immediately give up my plans to be clever with my cavalry, because, as the battle advisor says, a trickle can become a flood, and your whole battle line can break and flee. Using Alexander's area of effect morale bonus, I am lucky enough to break the chain reaction of panic, while it's still at 3 units. However, this means Alexander's now bogged down in melee combat with spear units. This is the most delicate time for my general. If he dies, it's definitely game over.
Infantry! Stand in formation!
With the situation momentarily stabilized, I can't resist the temptation to break off and then come in for another charge. At this point, it was actually a pretty risky move. I shouldn't have done it, but got lucky in that no more of my units broke while Alexander was absent.
Infantry! Infantry! Units! Charge! Go, go, go!
Meanwhile, on this side of the city square, my archers have just won a knife fight against the remaining Persian archers. I'm glad I was able to put them to some use.
Victory is ours! Make haste! Pull out! Unleash hell!
Our soldiers have gained victory today!
Gosh, I don't know. Is there some sort of phrase that can describe victory at a crippling cost? I don't know. I guess it hasn't been invented yet. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. This is Borkness, and I'll see you next time.